Hello everyone and welcome to Concept Hunter episode 20. Yes, I've been doing this for 20 freaking weeks, which is awesome. And as usual, I have so much to go through, so we're going to jump straight in to our first game. We have 3 to go through today. The first one is called Antichromatic, and I'm actually going to enable the music as it is pretty good music. I'm going to start a new game and go on hard. Very hard I had to unlock, which I dislike unlocking difficulty levels. I just recommend just having this startup, from the startup, just having very hard for people who really would like a challenge. But we're gonna go with hard because it's the basic difficulty that you get. And let's go through the story. It's been nearly a year since our world was fractured, split into, excuse me, split in two. We've been trying to restore it ever since. We're a small group known as Chroma, and we're the last hope this world has. Until the shattering, our world was like any other, but on that fateful day, the world was fractured in two. Everything and everyone was split between the two dimensions. We've tracked down the source of the shattering to a single facility. We have no doubt we'll find the source of the event somewhere within. We've infiltrated the facility and obtained a single suit of chromatic armor, allowing me to pass between the two fractured dimensions at will. If I can track down and restore the source, I believe we can restore the world to its former glory. So there's a little bit of we and I, so you have to, I'd prefer if you just stick to either we or I, because it's kind of weird that you're switching between them on the fly. So that just in terms of consistency, it just seemed a little bit of weird between the we and I. So other than that, we just immediately start up, and we're in a facility and we have this kind of power. So even though the story's a little bit different, it's still kind of the same in the sense of a facility. Other than that, we don't really have any other story except for the ending, so we just go through the facility and we have these texts that tell us what to do, which is fine. Obviously, you could do it in a little bit better way with someone communicating with you as you're this chroma team and somebody talking to you and maybe telling you what to do. That could be nicer, but I'm not really going to focus too much on that. So I actually saw last time in episode 19 where we did tower platformers. We had a game where you could just change with change the dimensions between white and black, and there it wasn't used too much to an effect that you really had to use the switching of dimensions. In this game, you really have to switch between dimensions, and it's done in a very very good way. And to swap between the white and black dimensions, hit space. Harmful objects in the opposite dimension cannot hurt you, and the white gun gun allows you to shoot in the white dimension using the mouse or arrows. So right now I can shoot with the mouse wherever I want to in kind of a multi-directional way. Since I'm in the white dimension, if I switch to black, I cannot actually shoot. So basic stuff. There's a gun here that shoots white at me, and there's also a gun that shoots black. Obviously I don't have the black gun, so I can't destroy them, and so I have nothing to do there, so I'm going to go back. And this game, I just want to really commend it for really stressing and really putting the part of the switching dimensions into everything here. Press escape to open the menu and view the map. You can also change control schemes in the options section of the menu and use the arrow keys or space to jump. But the main thing is to use just space in order to switch the two dimensions. Objects that are both black and white exist in both dimensions and should be avoided regardless of which dimension you currently reside in. So obviously these spikes will kill me no matter what, so I don't want to drop on them, and I have to switch dimensions here in midair. So, and now I get the black gun cell, allows you to shoot in the black dimension. And as you can already understand, you keep getting more and more, there's not too many things, but you keep getting a couple of things that work in specific dimensions. And what I really want to point out is the way they did it is very nice. You actually get double jump, the basic platformer stuff. You get double jump in the white dimension, and you get wall jump in the black dimension. So you might actually have a really long, a high wall that you have to start off at the white, double jump into it, and then switch to the black and get close to it and then wall jump. Or maybe start the jump in the black dimension and then finish and get the double jump from the white dimension. So they did it really well. And as you can see now, some challenges are best left for another time. This is for when you actually, exactly what I just said, that you have to actually start at the black dimension and then finish the jump off in the white dimension. And now we're gonna go a little bit further to check a couple more areas out, just so we can see them. Obviously black blocks I can only destroy in the black dimension, and white blocks, basic interaction in the sense of dimensions. And the difficulty level actually surprised me. It's very nice. The game really asks you to properly use the switching of dimensions, and obviously this is just hard, and there's very hard, which adds even more complexity. if you die, if you get hit by anything, you die and start at the beginning of that level. So obviously there are levels that are more difficult and levels that are much simpler in most cases. Here I'm going to try and jump and switch up at the correct timing, and I should be home clear here. So now obviously you see more things such as this thing, which is actually switching between just this type of teleporter between these things, and there's also a little bit play of that. You obviously need to get basically a red key and a blue key and a green key in order to pass on these red blocks, and later on, we can actually see it right now, the crimson shard allows you to destroy lingering red blocks, and you have other things like that. So this one I have to start the jump white and change midair to black, and the same goes for these jumps. Very standard stuff, but done very, very well. And I really have to say how much I've enjoyed this game. Finishing it a good decent amount of difficulty, and it's just done very, very well. I'd actually want to see more out of this, and that's pretty much it. You have the basics of every possible kind of platformers, stuff that move, lasers that just stand there, and you just have to do it properly and move along with the changing of the chroma of the dimensions, actually. The only thing that I would really like to see more, and that I don't really see more here, is, there you go, the sun would allow you to double jump within the white dimension. As you can see, this is kind of a difficult room, so we're actually going to stop right here as I press escape and turn off the music. Well, the main thing that I'd like to see is really the story. Just try to put it a little bit better, and instead of just saying stuff, as you get it, maybe someone calling you on the comm link or whatever out of your chroma unit, whatever, and talking to you and explaining these things, you could do that. And obviously the very hard difficulty, I would like to play this game on very hard. I'm not going to do it now because I've already finished it, but why unlock difficulty levels? Just allow people to play it. So a really, really great way of implementing that, switching between the two dimensions and really implementing that. I'm not actually going to show you too much, but there are actually levels that you really, really need to switch up properly. And actually one more thing that I would like to say, you switch between dimensions with space, and I hate the space key. I've said this many of time before. I hate the space key. It's just uncomfortable. No matter how you look at it, it's just a bad key. So I would like to have maybe Q and E. If you're talking about WASD, Q and E in order to switch between the dimensions, that would be nice. Or just allowing to change the controls, that would be nice. So that was the first game of today. The second game is going to be Rocky-Let the New World, and I want to talk a little bit about this before I press play here. Multi-directional shooters. So those are shooters where you can walk in 360 degrees and you can shoot generally in 360 degrees. There are pretty much two types of multi-directional shooters. One's where you use the arrow keys or the WASD, whatever it is. One of these you use for movement and the other you use to shoot, so you can only shoot top down and left right. And other multi-directional shooters where you can use the mouse. Obviously I like the mouse much better because it allows for more control, and I despise ones that you can only shoot in up, top, down, and left, right because they're just uncomfortable to play. And this one luckily is with the mouse. So speaking about these, a lot of the times I just don't like them because they're just too difficult in a way that you just feel cheap, and other ones are just too simple. And this game specifically, I haven't seen a game in a while that made me feel really a good amount of not cheap at all difficulty that I just really, really enjoyed. So it's called Rocky-Let the New World. There is some semblance of a story here, but sadly, I guess the developer doesn't really know English that well, and so there's a lot of broken English, which I've said before I kind of despise, and I would really like it for you to talk to someone who knows English, an English writer maybe. I could do it as well, I really don't mind. You have my contacts very simply at the bottom of the description of this video. And I don't mind proofreading this just to make sure that it's proper. And I'm kind of going to ignore the story. There is a story, it's pretty nice. As you'll see soon, it's pretty much sort of, you know, you shoot stuff, you go into another dimension where there's all these basic RPG tropes like slimes that you have to defeat and towers that shoot at you and stuff like that. It's a game by Yuri Votintsev. I probably read it incorrectly. But it's really, really nice. And obviously play story, I'm going to ignore easy and normal and go straight into hard. And we're going to ignore the story. I already started just a little bit, so we're going to go far in. But basically you have basic upgrades. You collect gold, obviously. In the weapon store, You have some basic weapons. Every 4 levels, I believe, you get a new weapon. Every 3 levels, you can buy even more starting ammo. This is just the starting ammo for each thing. So I'm going to buy a little bit of that, actually, right now and upgrade my shooting power just because I can. And we're going to go straight in. One thing that I have to say, I'm going to suck because the controls, this is Firefox. I actually finished the game on Chrome. For some reason on Firefox, the controls are a little bit iffy, so that's just buggy. And as you can see, I can switch up with Q and E, and basically there's all kinds of different enemies. Wow, and the controls are really kind of screwing with me. And when you get hit with anything touches you, you get hit. And when you destroy something, there are the coins. I hate these eyes. They're so freaking annoying. And you have the basic slimes that go into smaller slimes. And now I'm using, there's also the melee, already dying. There's obviously a melee component that you could always shoot, and you could always use. I'm just thinking I should take like a simpler level. There is the melee component that you could always use, no matter what, in case you run out of ammo for everything else. This is the basic shooting. There's the shotgun, which just goes off like this, and obviously missiles that do AoE damage, and all that, if I get through everything. So there are a couple more. There are actually 4 more weapons that you unlock throughout the game. There's obviously the upgrades, and what I really liked about this game is the great progression that it really has. You fight more and more enemies, not only different enemies and more diverse enemies and enemy groups, but more and more enemies. Towards the ending, you actually have 200 or so enemies that you have to destroy, and there's about, 20 or so types of different enemies, so it really gets varied. You also have different kinds of guns, and it really gets difficult in a good way that really makes you, it was really good difficulty that I really enjoyed. Obviously you can go back to past levels and get more gold, and that way have everything upgraded pretty soon, pretty fast if you just do that. And you know, you get the maximum everything, and then a couple of the early levels become pretty easy. But even if you have maxed out everything, the later levels are still pretty damn difficult, which is something that I really enjoyed. You never get really overpowered, and some of the levels are just pretty difficult later on, in a good way. They're just decent difficulty level that really made me. You have to dodge stuff. Obviously, there's here right now. There's only stuff that try to get at me. Later on, there's things that try to shoot at you, and there's really great variety, really wonderful variety in the stuff that the actual enemies that you have. Towers that just stand there, stuff that pop out and then pop out and somewhere else and shoot at you from far away, from off screen, and all kinds of stuff like that. One of the biggest problems that I have, one of the only problems that I have with the game, is actually the weapons. You can press Q and E to move left and right, and if you finish ammo types of one of the weapons, it'll jump between them and won't actually pass between some in something that you don't have ammo in, which is a good mechanic. But it doesn't really allow you, since you have to move on, especially when you get 7 and 8 items, it's difficult to really switch and find exactly the weapon that you want. So I would like to see just the addition of maybe weapons 1 to 8, just allowing people to just choose between 1 and 8 to go to a specific weapon. It's no hindrance, it just adds to the game and allows for more variety, and maybe use the missiles only when I want to do AoE, and use the other things only when I want to, and in specific situations just allow for that. Now you can see already there's these things which just shoot at me, so and they just stand there. So it's basic towers that just stand there, and they will keep on standing there until I destroy them. And obviously there's a limit to how many enemies there are on screen currently, but once you destroy one, immediately pops up somewhere else, and the arenas are pretty small. These things are only a hindrance to seeing me. Now I'm pretty much invisible, but I'm still there. I can't see myself, so there are only a hindrance there, but I can actually pass on and walk on everything here, and the arenas are pretty small, and it really gets difficult and really gets hectic, especially with a lot of things that shoot at you from far away, even off screen. As you can see, if we don't see the towers, they still shoot at me. So this game, really great difficulty levels. I really enjoyed it as a multi-directional shooter. It really gets more and more difficult, and I just really enjoyed it. That's really all I have to say. That it was just really well done. We're already going for 14 minutes, so let's jump into our last game of today. It's called Moonwaltz, and it's very specific by Medru Bueno. So press space to start. How? Press the space bar to reveal the moon. Press any key to start. Any other key, that is. And basically we're off to a stroll, and at the end of the stroll there's cigarettes, so that's pretty much what we're wanting to get. There's just a guy who wants to get cigarettes. He's just walking along, And you know, now there's thugs, so I'm just gonna press space and turn into a werewolf and blow them out. So that's the only thing that you do in this game. And there's actually just really, really great, all kinds of tiny little stories. It's pretty much a linear kind of story, but there's all kinds of things that can happen, scripted events. Obviously, you can destroy whatever. There's the mayor. I can reach up to him and then kill him. And if I actually get to someone and just show off a little bit beforehand, he'll run away. And now there's a pub, so I'm gonna turn into a werewolf and knock out their bikes. Now I'm thrown in. I'm gonna turn into a werewolf and just destroy everybody. Obviously, if you go into a werewolf too much, you become tired. So you have to rest just a little bit, you don't have infinity, and now I'm going to scare him off into the girl, and when I get back, they're going to make out and stuff like that, so I help them find love. And now there's the priest. I'm going to show him that I'm a werewolf, and he's going to chase me with a shotgun. So it's just really, really cute. It's a small little mechanic, and I'm just going to alert the ranger, and he's going to accidentally shoot that guy. It's just an adorable mechanic. It's done so well. The graphics are really cute, and it's just a lovely little story with all kinds of things to find out. And I've actually played it obviously a couple of times to really just find all the different things that you could do. And obviously you get back afterwards, and everything that you did has consequences. And now there's, say, a cop here, so I'm gonna kill him, and there's more cops coming in. And more cops, and that's it, and they're making out, but I'm gonna kill her and not him. He actually got away. And this guy saw me earlier, so he's gonna throw me in, but screw you, dude, I'm a freaking werewolf. So I kill everything, and now there's a cross, and it's just really, really cute little concept, done so well, and it's just fun, and it wastes a little bit of time. Now there's the cat, that I'm gonna show him that I'm a werewolf, and then he's gonna follow me. Werewolves don't exist, werewolves do exist. So just a cute little game that I just really had to show because I really, really enjoyed it. It's the Moonwaltz, and let's just wait till it actually gets to the end and see just the ending of this one. Obviously, there's a couple of endings that you could reach, and a couple of different things can happen. Starts off that, goes in, and it's actually a spaceship that helps them fly to the moon. Obviously, werewolves love the moon, so that's pretty much it for this episode of Concept Hunter. We saw 3 games. We're going to give credit where credit is due as usual. So Antichromatic was by Arceus, and Rockulate the New World is by Games Hero. Malkman and Magus Arts are responsible for the Moonwaltz, and I really want to say how much I enjoyed these 3 games. So that's it for today. My name is KOKOStern. I would very much appreciate it if you like my stuff, that you'd subscribe to this channel. And other than that, that's it. Go play. Let me know what you think, and I will see you guys next time. Let's do this. Gonna regret this. Come on. Shit! I'm gonna miss it. Shit. Ironic that I'm saying shit. Shit. It's not gonna work. No, not gonna make max. Really? That's just it.